In this section about scripting, we are going to go over 5 possible AI tools that you could want to use for scripting. Now, you're going to quickly develop which is your favorite, and I'm going to give you 5 examples here. You may use more than one. You'll see me use them. I predominantly use ChatGPT, and you probably at the minute will maybe Scribbler, ChatSonic, Text Cortez, you'll see. We're going to go over these 5 tools: ChatGPT, Gemini, which we've both looked at in the previous section where we talked about generating ideas, but now some specific AI tools for scripting. That's Scribbler, ChatSonic, and Text Cortez. Now, if you go onto site here, this is aivideo.school, AI video scripts. I've got a page for you here which breaks down everything, which you can go through in your own time, but I will cover these in these lectures. Apart from, it's kind of important for you to understand the structure of a script. You can ask AI to generate a script, but if you don't know what one should look like, how it should be formatted, everything from the actual format to the structure of it, that's the 3-act structure, classic 3-act structure, then it's difficult to know what you're looking at. So on the site here, and you can also download them, is the BBC, that's the British Broadcasting Corporation. It's the TV screenplay format, the film format, and then an overview of what a 3-act structure is. So you can download these either from here or from the course itself, and you can get familiar with that. I've also got a breakdown pretty much of what a 3-act structure is, which some of you will be familiar with and some won't. It's basically a setup, an inciting incident, something happens, there's a confrontation, and then there's the resolution. So setup, something happens, they've got to overcome it, back to a resolution, equilibrium, disequilibrium, equilibrium. That's what we kind of say with a 3-act structure there. But with this course specifically, we're going to be looking at AI tools and what to use, what best to use, and best practices for generating scripts. But just so you're familiar, there's a background on that. So if you scroll down, much like the other sections right here, I have these 5 tools. In the drop down, you can go in and it can show you specifically what you should be doing to generate script generation with ChatGPT. So there's example prompts in here, building story structures, an example prompt for that, dialogue, scenes, refining characters and backgrounds, drafting full scripts for small scenes, and developing niche ideas. Ideal prompts for ChatGPT. We know this from previous sections. And then kind of more examples and differences between the other platforms that we're talking about and where you might want to use this as opposed to something else. Or you might want to use, I don't know, for example, Gemini, if you were doing something more factual based as opposed to entertainment based. That could be a possibility. So I won't go over these in depth. Generally speaking, we know that ChatGPT, the strengths are its conversational understanding, narrative structure, and creation in ideas. The best prompting strategy, of course, as we know, is to be clear, concise, include anything about the characters, dialogue, etc., that we spoke about before when we were talking about the kind of prompting that ChatGPT likes and the going back and forth that you saw in the previous section. Now, Scribble is a good one. Just in a couple of sentences for you, it's specialized for screenwriting, scene breakdown, and script formatting. So the best prompting way is to provide a structured narrative outline, specify scenes, beats, character movements, leverage the formatting features to quickly draft a properly formatted script for yourself. So it's perfect for that. Now, ChatSonic is ideal for scripting dialogue, especially. You're going to see that. And it's also good at knowing trending topics and also in the way it dictates, in the way it produces dialogue rather, you'll see that it's kind of a little bit more in touch with almost real world, which is quite scary. You'll see us when we use that. Text Cortez is really good at long form content. You'll see that you could, if you were doing a feature length or continual series, then sometimes Text Cortez is better. And then Gemini we know is multimodal. You can get imagery, or whether it quite likes to display things in that kind of graphical way quite often, which I quite like to receive. And it would be ideal if you were making documentary topics or factual, educational, information videos. You might like to use this, but we are going to generate a script using all of these, see the differences. And at the end of this section, I'm going to generate the script for the project that we were working on. If you remember, I'm making a film throughout this course, and then we're going to send that to film festival at the end, actually. And we generated this idea based around Pearl Harbor, Japan, and Pearl Harbor simultaneously from the point of view of children. So at the end of this section, I'm going to be using one of these tools, possibly two, but probably one, to develop that script. And you can see me in real time develop my script at the end that we're going to be using for the course. But I will be going over each one of these lecture at a time. The first few lectures are going to be all ChatGPT, and then you can use the same things for each of these. I don't need to show you each section. So I'll give you just a quick overview, then I'll show you the prompts for scripts and best practices, script versus structure. There's a different, how to actually set up a voice or a tone as if you've got your own personal writer in ChatGPT working with you, and then refining scripts with ChatGPT. And you can use much of those similar tactics inside all of these, but I'll give you an overview of these after that, right before we make our script for this course. Okay, let's get on with it. Let's move on to the next section. Let's talk about ChatGPT and start generating some scripts using it. We are going to be utilizing ChatGPT to generate a script. This is the first video really generating a script. I'm going to show you the prompt and the way I'm going to use it specifically for ChatGPT, but then how you would then tweak that to change that for the other platforms, which we'll see later. But this is the first of 4 lectures with ChatGPT specifically. First, now I'm going to show you prompting for scripts. Then script versus structure, how to set a tone, that's an actual personal assistant in ChatGPT, and then refining your script before we check out the comparisons between Scribbler, ChatSonic, Text Cortez, and Gemini. Okay, so just like from the last section, if you haven't watched, then you won't understand how we developed an idea, but we developed ideas in the last section. So we're assuming you have your idea. If you followed your homework from the last section, the last lecture, the task, then you will have your idea and you'll be able to come into ChatGPT and follow along with what we're doing now. So if I scroll down on the site here, once again, this is AI-video scripts you have access to as a student. If I scroll down to ChatGPT, I can see all the example prompts for different things. These are getting an idea, building a story structure, creating dialogue, etc., refining characters. It will depend whether you need this. If you are creating a silent movie without any dialogue, if you're creating an advert, if you're creating a promotional video, educational, it's going to be very different depending on what it is you are creating. So what I'm going to do is scroll down to this bit. I love this, and it's on each section. Ideal prompt structure for ChatGPT. It's the start of a clear objective, provide any context details, request specifics, tone, and style. So I'm going to just paste in here. This is my prompt that I have here, okay? And I'm going to break this down and you can follow along. So I have this act as an experienced scriptwriter. It's something I quite like to do. I think I found it from here. I'm going to show you this blog that I quite like to read, Prompt Advice, and it's got all the advice here with generating some ideas. So some further reading if you want to. And they always like to start with act as an experienced scriptwriter. And I've seen people say this before, act as a scriptwriter, you are a scriptwriter, even you are Quentin Tarantino or something, you know, which we can get to later for that. But I like to start with that. There's no harm in it, and if I took this away, there'll be very little difference, but just so they know you are a scriptwriter. Okay, so the first point I need to do, start with a clear objective, specify the purpose or genre of the video. So I'm saying generate a 2-minute script, a script for a 2-minute video, sorry. Clear instruction, the first thing I do. I also want to tell it about any limitations that I have. So to produce the video, I will be using only AI video tools to generate the visuals. So keep AI video generation limitations in mind when producing scenes and characters. Keep them simple enough. Okay, and the theme of my story is lost love. So this is what I developed in the last section, and you would have done, and this is my development, my idea for a video. Okay, so provide context and details. Mention any specific elements or themes that you want to include. So I have my main and sole character is a young boy. I'm not decided on age exactly, or ethnicity, or location in the world. Gonna leave that up to ChatGPT here. Maybe they'll inspire me. I could say in the USA, he's Caucasian, Black, Latino, living in California, New York, in the city, in the countryside. I could get very specific here, but I want to leave it. Sometimes I quite like to leave it up to ChatGPT or whichever software you're using to see what they come up with. So he has lost his dog, his best friend. This is this lost love. He has lost his dog, his best friend. So the next point was request specific. Ask for any key points, outline, scripts, or dialogue. So I don't have any dialogue, I'll show you here, but what I do ask it to do, and we mentioned in the last section, and you can go ahead and read all about the 3-act structure and download that right here on site if you wanted to, is I want to make sure it adheres to ensure the script follows the 3-act structure and has a clear resolution. That means the scene, although only 2 minutes, will show a setup, an equilibrium, a state of equilibrium of whatever's happened. Then there's the issue that's going to be overcome and there's going to be a resolution at the end. I also say there should be no dialogue, but if needed, there can be a narrator's voiceover. Because we're using AI tools, I don't want to lip sync. I don't like the look of it, but I don't mind some narrator's voice in some tools. We'll see later, 11 Labs or Filmora do some great voiceover tools. So I don't mind having a narrator's voice, leaving that once again up to ChatGPT. And then lastly, tone and style. Indicate the desired tone: casual, formal, humorous. I want to say my tone is calm, romantic, and heartfelt. Now, just to go back a stage with this point here, point number 3, any specifics, outline, scripts, or dialogue. If you already had something in mind already with your ideas, sometimes you saw when we generated ideas that it went into a little bit more detail than just producing an idea, and that's the point in which you put them. For example, if you're generating ideas and it says that there was a cliffhanger at the end, you'd put it here, or there was specific dialogue scene, some characteristic that the character had or did, or something like that. If they have a stutter, they're missing a limb, they are a war veteran, whatever it is, put that in these middle 2 points here, point 2 and point 3 for ChatGPT. Let's run this and let's see the results. Okay, I'm just going to read through a little bit of this and see what it has come up with. So title, A Boy and His Best Friend. Duration, 2 minutes. It's heartfelt, emotional. Theme is lost love. The character is a young boy aged 6 to 10 who has lost his dog. So yes, that's true. Okay, Act 1, 35 seconds. Scene 1, establishing the bond. A video opens with a warm, soft morning light filtering through the trees in a quiet park. A young boy around 7 years old runs joyfully through the field with his dog, a small brown and white terrier. The boy laughs and throws a stick, and the dog runs after it with boundless energy. Gentle, soft piano music underscores the scene. Nice. So visual focus, AI generated visuals of a field, a small dog playing, and a happy boy. I could quite easily, and you saw 2 sections ago when we touched and played with some AI image and video generation in the workflow section, I could quite easily do this. It's almost going to be like a montage of shots of this. Shots of the boy laughing, running, sharing moments of play with the dog. No problem. And you saw me on 11 Labs. I could easily generate the sound effect for a young boy laughing on there. No problem. Cut to a shot of the boy resting on the grass and the dog nuzzling close to him. The boy pats the dog's head and they share a quiet, content moment together. So you don't need to show. That's what it would be ideal if you were filming that yourself, but this could quite easily with AI be a shot of the boy. The music could calm down, we could fade out and fade in, boy's laying on the grass and there's a dog there, and then fade to black as if the boys fell asleep. Narrator, calm, warm voice. They're inseparable, 2 best friends finding joy in the simplest moments of life. Act 2, this is the confrontation. It's the lost. The visuals shift to a slightly overcast day. The boy is seen wandering through the same field, calling out and searching frantically. The stick from earlier scene lies abandoned, half buried in the mud. The boy runs around looking with growing worry, but the dog is nowhere to be found. So again, I could do an empty field. Once I've generated these first images, I can generate the same thing, change the clothing for the boy, and have his different expressions. Not a problem with AI. Cut to a scene of the boy sitting alone on a bench. I would mimic that with that first scene where he fell asleep on the grass, sat there or something maybe. His feet swinging in the air. He holds his dog's collar in his small hand, staring down at it. The rain softly begins to fall. The rain reflects his feelings of emptiness and loss. So this is either right now, if he's holding his dog's collar, the dog doesn't have a collar. Is the dog died or is the dog missing? Let's see, narrator. But one day life changed. His best friend was gone, leaving only memories in the places they once roamed. Act 3, finding peace. The visuals brighten slightly. The boy returns to the field on a sunny day, still holding the collar. He stands in a spot where he and his dog used to play, looking around as if expecting to see his furry friend running towards him. But instead of despair, a small smile appears on his face, as if the senses the dog's spirit is still with him. AI-generated visuals of the boy standing, sunlit, holding a collar, gentle breeze brushes. Okay, yep. Cut to a final shot of the boy walking away from the field, holding the collar loosely in his hand. He looks back once with a smile, hints at a bittersweet acceptance. The screen fades to black. In time, he learned that love doesn't always stay, but it never truly leaves. Okay, so this is, actually I'm going to read the summary. The video tells a story of a young boy who loses his beloved dog, his best friend. The bond they share is shown through visuals of playful moments shared with happiness. When the dog despairs, the boy is left heartbroken, struggling to understand the loss. In the end, he finds solace in the memories and love that remain. Learning that love may not always stay, but it truly never leaves. Okay, yeah, so this is a complete script. Act 1, 2, 3. They set up that the boy and his dog, the dog's gone missing. What's happened? Oh, he must have died, and the boy has accepted that. So this is a nice little script. Because I gave it the limitations of only 2 minutes, this is all it can pretty much do in 2 minutes. If I was to give it a 10-minute or 5-minute script even, I guarantee there would be more of a rounded arc on there. Like, I would like to develop this, and there seems to be a bit of a jump here between scene 2, when the boy's kind of still sad in the field, holding his dog's collar, and then the resolution that perhaps there's going to be something here. Like, does he get a new dog and puts the collar on the dog? Does he find a picture, a ball, a toy of the dog? There's something needed to connect these, and that's something we can do when we talk about refining the script, which is one of the last lectures in this section. So if you want to go along and play with, this was only, obviously I could tell it, okay, I'm gonna do it right now. I could tell it to make that a full-length script, okay? So I'm going to do, as write a script for a, well, let's call it a 30-minute video. Let's not tell it about AI for now, and let's generate that. And I've also actually said there's no dialogue, but there can be a narrator's voiceover. That's quite a bit for a 30-minute film. Maybe I might stop that and run it with dialogue, and you'll see what it can do if you were making an actual script. Okay, so now generating this script, I haven't given it the limitations of time, and it says, okay, act 1, done this, act 2. This is still giving me a narrator because remembered before. I can tell it to, it can have dialogue now. Act 3, the boy spends several days searching everywhere over the fields. Yeah, way more, obviously, time. The film shows the boy's face marked by quiet determination, memories and letting go. As time passes, the boy visits the places. Act 3, resolution. Okay, the sunset, he holds Buddy's collar, it's faded, the sun dips below, the camera, the boy pacing the collar around the oak tree. So he takes, so he has a mound under an old oak tree. He takes a deep breath and looks at the field, his expression of acceptance and peace. So he's gone to where the dog was buried, obviously. And then moving forward, looks like here he has the camera lingers on the hill, the old oak tree, as the boy's playing in there. He also carried the memory of his best friend with him like a gentle breeze that always whispered. So you can see if you had given it more time, this is 10 minutes, there's a way more rounded story here, and it feels like a Pixar mini movie that you might get at the beginning of the Pixar movies that you might have seen in the cinema. 2 minutes is perhaps too much to do a 3-act structure. Whole 3-act structure movie, but it's possible, and we can develop that. So that was ChatGPT with scripting. Now we've jumped in there and got yourself a script. What I like to do either before or after. It depends. If you like that script, you can make a structure from it, or you can have a structure and then make a script from it. I'm going to do it this way around, but you could do the next lecture I'm going to show you before you do this step. Completely up to you. We're going to talk about making video structures. Continuing on now with scripting and ChatGPT, I want to let you know that a lot of you won't actually need a script, and do not obsess with that word script and what's needed. A lot of videos do not need a script. You don't need it to say, this person said that and the narrator said this scene looks like this. There are many examples where videos won't need this. If I bring up the slide right here, I'm going to just show you the difference between generating a script and a structure. A video script, as we've shown you in the last lecture, is a detailed and fully fleshed out document that includes dialogue, character actions, scenes descriptions. Okay, great. They're going to be needed if you're making a short film for a festival or something. But if you are doing, I don't know, even a short 2-minute AI funny, if you're making a comedy piece, if you're doing a documentary or an information or educational video, basically anything that's not almost a fictional story, then you might want to align yourself with producing structures as opposed to scripts. And I'm going to explain that. A structure provides an outline or framework of the video's key elements, including perhaps plot points, major scenes, transitions, etc., or clear points in like a blueprint format of what's needed to go from one stage to the next, but in a point format, as opposed to as much detail and fleshed out document, if you like, that a script is. Also, if there's flexibility needed with your project, then a structure is definitely better. A script is the final stage here. Many of you may do a structure first, and then once you've generated a structure, then make a script from the structure. Sometimes the other way around, like we've shown, I've done the last lecture first and then this one, but quite often this way around, you might structure this first, or you only need one or the other. So let me show you here. I'm going to just paste in my prompt right here, and I'm going to go through that with you. Okay, so just like on here, if you go through, you can see I've got here's a prompt if you want to generate ideas, building structures and things, but still sticking to these points here that we spoke about in the last lecture. Let me go in here and show you the structure that I've got for a prompt that you can copy for getting myself a video structure. So I tell it straight away. Once again, first point, start with a clear objective. Generate a script structure, not a script. I double-ended, make sure this, for a video about. It's a 5-minute long documentary. Once again, I'm providing clear objectives and context details coming up. The topic of the documentary is the growth of AI, history. Break the video down into 5 sections. If I've got a nice 10-minute video, then 2 minutes structure or so, 5-minute video, 1 minute per section would be fine. Add timings for each section. That's quite important for when you're getting a structure, so you know how long you've got for each piece. So when you are making creative decisions like shots or narration or voiceover, etc., that it matches. So in each section, describe what a narrator will be saying or interviews needed, images needed, visuals, music, etc. So each section should have all those details, everything I need to create an AI video for this. Then I want them to, if I go back over to this point here, request specifics, any key points, outlines, right before I talk about the tone. I want them to format this simply in sections and bullet points. Then finally, the tone of this documentary is informative, I should say, is informative but emotional, worrying about the future implications of AI. Complete the documentary with a strong conclusion and action point for the viewer. So you can copy this for your own video if you want to use these points right here. You can see what they are. I'm going to generate that, and then we're going to see what this brings out and how a structure differentiates itself from a script and how you might want these. So, section 1, introduction, the dawn of AI. Purpose, introduce the topic of AI, setting the stage and a brief history with an emotional hook. That's great. Narrator opens with, in a world increasingly driven by intelligent machines and seeds of artificial intelligence were sown long ago. Visuals, archive footage, yep, we could generate that with AI of computers in the 1950s. Black and white photos of early AI pioneers like Alan Turing, John McCartney, glitches and digital overlays subtly hinting at uncertainty. Music, a hopeful yet slightly ominous orchestral score gradually building up We could definitely ask Suno for that. You saw me do that in the section where we did workflows. That was great to check that out. Tone, intrigue, mix, sense of nostalgia and caution. So this is giving me the structure here. What I could do, and I'll show you in a moment, is copy that and say, okay, now write me a script for this section. Section 2, rapid advancement takes shape. This is for this 1 minute and 15 seconds. That first one was for the first 45 seconds. Purpose to outline the key milestones. So this is going to be where we're going to differ slightly here. You're not going to use AI for this necessarily, but we could use other visuals. Graphs and animations showing the exponential growth of computer power and data. I could have a general graph generated with AI or that kind of imagery, not a specific one showing dates and times. That would be something created perhaps if you were, I don't know, familiar with something like After Effects, then you could have that. Clips of pivotal moments, deep blue defeating. Okay, you'd have to look into, so from this structure, I could use AI to research exactly what these are. So listing visuals between decades showing advancements. I could easily get historical advancements, historical pieces, sorry, and looking imagery to go along with this. Transition from a hopeful to a more intense music. No problem. Interviews, sound bites from AI researchers. You could grab those from YouTube, etc., or create it yourself. It's very unlikely that an informational video like this, you are only going to purely use AI. You're probably going to download interview clips, perhaps from YouTube and things to use inside, or stock footage pieces that you found, but use AI to flesh that out. So AI in our daily lives. Then we've got the next section. Now it's everywhere. This is again 1 minute and 15 seconds. Images of applications, how they use this. Okay. Section 4, implications of a world transformed. Narrator raises a question, but in our pursuit of progress, what are the consequences? What does it mean when machines make decisions for us? And gets a bit more ominous here. Conclusion in section 5, the last 45 seconds. Wrap this up with a cultural awareness and responsibility, encouraging viewers to think critically about the future of AI. So it doesn't matter the topic here that I'm showing you for this video, which is about AI. This matters that I'm showing you what a structure looks like. I use structures even when I'm making a video that's, say, a comedy video or a trailer. I'm like, structure me out a trailer for a new Pulp Fiction 2 movie that doesn't exist. Make me a structure, and it will bullet point like this, and then I'll flesh a script out from that structure if I'm happy with the structure. It's like you're getting your structure down first and then flesh it out with a script, because it's much more difficult to be trying to move around the structure of a script if you don't have a structure to start with, because it's already fleshed out somewhat. So if I took this section right here, I quite like, I'm going to say, okay, create a script around this. So I don't need to tell it about the tone and all those things. Again, it's already in there. We've already told ChatGPT what the tone is. It knows all that information, and it's going along with what we've already told it before. So intrigue and town nostalgia is a hint of caution. Okay, the screen is black. We hear a soft hum of an old machine starting up, followed by the click clank of keys of a typewriter. An old CRT monitor flickers to life. We could easily generate that using 11 Labs for the sound effects, and then any of the image generators, the video, to get some old monitor flicker like this. In a world increasingly driven by intelligent machines, seeds of artificial intelligence were sown long ago. Cut to gritty black and white footage, cut to photos of Alan Turing, etc. Okay, yeah, narrator. It's a time of boundless curiosities and ambition when visionaries like Alan Turing and John McCartney dared to dream of thinking machines. And you see it's breaking it down now. It's actually giving me what a narrator says with the scenes that go along with it, including music. Even if I fade, slow, fade to black, etc. Flickering monitor here, music, slow builds up, end of section 1. So it's really fleshed out from that. But if I was to just get a script straight away, get this script of all these parts, it's going to be hard for me to then go, actually, I want my second point to not be about these specifics. I want it to be more general, etc. But if I have a structure first, I can change that after. So do think somewhat of creating either a structure first, going to a script, or perhaps you only need a structure. You don't need a script depending on the videos. Perhaps you don't need any of this and you're just going to go along and wing it and just start creating. Absolutely fine, whichever works best for you. I just want to show you, sometimes people forget about making video structures as opposed to actual scripts, but I'm here to show you that they are very useful. And I work way better working with bullet points like this than I do working with a whole lump of text. looking at a script. Depends on how you work best. So that was script versus structure, and I wanted to show you it. Next, I'm going to show you how you can generate everything you're generating here in ChatGPT with a set tone. That's by setting yourself kind of an AI companion, if you like, in the voice or tone of either a theme, narration, or a person. I'll explain more. It's really good. It's like having your own professional AI assistant to help you generate these. I'll show you that in the next lecture. So this is something a little bit fun here with ChatGPT that I want to show you, where you can actually create your own GPT. So your own assistant, if you like, with creating your scripts. This won't be too long and I won't go into too much depth. We'll just do this together. If you're in ChatGPT here, go over and you can see Explore GPT. And you can see right here, they've got the top picks. These are like a code tutor, something to make your resume. And then you've got writing. Here, write for me, humanize AI. These are all GPTs that have been created as an aid, if you like, for whilst you're creating your prompting and trying to create the product that you're trying to create with AI, with ChatGPT. Now, obviously the program is so vast, and you know that just like as in with humans, every single question could mean something very different to every single person. In the same way, your ChatGPT experience would be very different if you input something, if I input something based on our history or based on the way we phrase things slightly. There are so many different ways to interpret everything. So a GPT can help you create a voice, if you like, someone you can use. I keep saying someone like it's a real person. That's what it feels like with AI, doesn't it? Somebody to aid you, something to aid you along with creating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a GPT up here, okay? It says, I'll just follow this along and show you exactly what we do with this, how we do it, and then you can do this too. So I help you to build a new GPT. You can say something like, make a creative, it helps me generate visuals, or make a software engineer that helps me format my code. What would you like to do? I would like you to be the Quentin Tarantino, the film writer, to aid me with writing scripts in his style always. So what you can do here is you could ask it, I'm going to do this, I'm going to ask it to be Quentin Tarantino, who's a very famous scriptwriter and director who has a very unique style. So now if I ask them to this GPT to produce scripts or structures like we've been doing, and I'm using the GPT that is essentially going to be Quentin Tarantino, yeah, okay, how should we name it? Yeah, sure. Then it's going to give me the result as if you are Quentin Tarantino. So if you like that kind of style of writing, or this could be any director, Wes Anderson, you could be using historical Alfred Hitchcock or someone, you could be using them to make sure that that's the style that you want, okay? So now they're creating a name for it, and let's create a picture. Yes, here's a profile picture. Great. Yes, thank you. That's very polite of me. Okay, you're welcome. Quentin Scribe is all set up to help you with those Quentin Tarantino style scripts. If you have any more adjustments, or if you want to try it out, just let me know. What's your first scene idea? Okay, let's see if this does this, okay? I'm going to actually use something similar to what we did before. So write me a scene, write me a 2-minute, I won't use the full prompts like we've been doing in the previous sections for the sake of making this not too long for you. Write me a 2-minute scene based in Japan during World War II between 2 lost soldiers, 1 American and 1 Japanese. Let's make that a 5-minute scene. So there's another, and I want to see if the dialogue and things are coming off in the scene is like Quentin Tarantino. Let's just hit enter. Now, I've given it hardly any instruction intentionally and on purpose. So I haven't said do it in the style of, the theme is like this, it should be set like this, these are the characters. I want to see if it starts doing things like Quentin Tarantino. And if you know any of his movies, the Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, anything like that, you'll know it's going to have quick wit, dialogue, probably a bit of blood and gore or something. Let's see what it does here. Okay. Interior bamboo forest day. Thick mist rolls through an isolated bamboo grove. Birds in the distance. Gunfire echoes softly, almost drowned out by the buzzing of the cicadas. The greenery is endless and uniform, creating a disorientating maze. Enter Jackson, late 20s, American, face smeared with dirt, uniform torn, he breathes heavily, disorientated, rifle ready, his eyes dart left to right, he's lost. Rustling sound, to his left, Jackson spins, pointing his rifle towards the noise. Out steps hero, early 30s, Japanese, equally ragged, holding a bolt-action rifle. They both freeze, eyes locked. Cool scene. They speak in their respective languages. Jackson, stay here, where are you? And then Hero speaks in Japanese. They both recognize the fear in each other's eyes, universal language of desperation. Jackson gestures to his rifle for Hero to drop his weapon. Hero hesitates. Put it down, or I will. Hero doesn't understand the words. He gets intense, slowly lowers his rifle, places it to the ground. Okay, we the same. Cocks his head. What are you saying? Hero laughs, gestures towards him. You, me, no fight. Jackson swallows grit. Okay, let me scroll through this. I won't read you this whole script on here. No fight. Pulls out a crumpled cigarette from his pocket, offering it to Jackson. Yeah, this scene got cool. Are you serious? Hero asks if he's American. Yeah. Okay, Jackson nods, understanding this. You know the way out. He tilts his head, trying to comprehend. Jackson waves his hand, mimicking someone lost in circles. And he chuckles and he nods. They're the South. Okay, what I want to do is see if there's... And they part ways. Okay, it's quite a cool scene. It hasn't really given me the quick wit kind of thing that Tarantino. So we can train it a little bit more, okay? If I go over to configure right here, let me just check this out. Right description, right Tarantino with sharp dialogue, dark humor, non-linear storytelling. Embody Quentin Tarantino's signature style. This is all good. I need help writing this conversation. I like Tarantino approach with a plot twist. So what you can do here is you can actually upload files. So if I got the script, I can download the script of Pulp Fiction. I can upload it and I can start training the model to do that. So that would aid definitely. I mean, it is a cool scene and it's set up and they go side by side, bump into each other, have this conversation, smoking a cigarette, etc. Fade to black. Yeah, it's a bit like more like the modern Tarantino stuff with Once Upon a Time in the West. But let's do it again and let's run this scene again, but have a Tarantino plot twist at the end, some blood and gore and sharp witty dialogue. So I'm giving it a bit more instruction there, and then it's going to be trained on that. Let's see what it says right here. Okay, so now we've got slightly more Tarantino, it feels like, in my opinion. Through his gritted teeth, he says, just my luck. Stay right there. In Japanese, he gets it. Okay. Look, I don't want to paint the forest of your brains, okay? Put it down. Okay, yeah, now we're getting more like Tarantino here. Okay, then they decide no fight, no fight. Cautiously, they lower their guns, have a cigarette together. Okay, so now they've decided there's going to be peace. They're going to walk away, yeah, peace. As they do so, they start to notice, he noticed Hero's boot print, a peculiar neat tread. Jackson's mind races. Suddenly Hero draws a concealed knife, slashing Jackson. Jackson barely dodges, the blade grazes his arm. He stumbles backwards. So we're doing this now. We've got some cool dialogue here. Hero laughs, aiming for Jackson's gut, okay. Mocking through clenched teeth. I thought we were having a moment. Yeah, okay, this is really good. Hero glares up, spitting blood, very Tarantino. Sweeps his legs out from underneath him. Jackson swings the baseball rifle like a baseball bat. Wham! Hero's head slams to the side, blood splattering the bamboo. Jackson breathes heavily with the adrenaline still coursing through him. Hero's face is blooded and broken. Chuckles weakly, muttering in Japanese. Americans always a surprise. Jackson crouches over him, eyes burning. Yeah, well, I'm full of surprises. Cocks the rifle, shoving a barrel against Hero's forehead. Hero closes his eyes, accepting it. Jackson, sarcastic whisper, peace, bang. Blood sprays everywhere. God damn, no happy endings in the jungle. Okay, now we're getting more Tarantino. Now, if I run the same scene again, actually let's do that testing. Now I'm training it the more I use it. Let me just do exactly the same first prompt we have here. And I'm gonna see if it started learning from my last input. Okay, this time what I've just read through this here, I don't need to read this all to you. They basically meet up together and then they walk through the jungle and there's another soldier who shoots him and then ends up being very bloody. bullet catches a soldier in the chest, he staggers back, blood splattering all over the bamboo, collapses to the ground. So it seems to have learnt, the more I run this, the more that it understands. So this is how you can get yourself and keep using the same GPT if you are going to be using a lot of scripts in a similar style, and configure this better, upload yourself. Like if I want to, I could just search to get myself the script here of Pulp Fiction. It is available online. I could probably even ask ChatGPT to give me the script. So I could download this script if I wanted to, download it like this. Okay, let's save it as Pulp Fiction. Let's upload files. Okay, just uploaded that here, and now it's ready. It just had loaded and it's ready to create. It's now understanding slightly more what we could be making here. And also if I wanted to reference that directly, it now full understanding of that script. Training. So that was just another little tool. I don't see people talk about this too much, to create a GPT around it. You might not, most of you watching this will not keep making scripts in the same voice. Maybe you'll have lots of different stuff, but if you do want to, you can start training your own GPTs to do this. So next, let's talk about refining a script, the last stage in ChatGPT, before I move on to some other tools just briefly to show you, so you have a full arsenal of AI tools at your disposal before I create the script for our course project. This is the last part of the scripting process. This is refining your script, making sure that it's the best that it could be. So many times I see creators generate a script, go with AI, it sounds pretty good, go with it. A script in the industry would have gone through dozens and dozens of refinements, into the hundreds. Even you can get people working on a script whilst the production process is happening. That's quite often happens, and there's continuity people to make sure that things are consistent throughout the script, which often happens also during filming. So do not just generate your script and it's done. Refine it with some of these tools I'm about to show you. Now, there are 6 key areas for script refinement. I'm going to show you all of these and the ideal prompt for each. That's the ideal prompt template for plot development, for character building, for script analysis, for writing dialogue, for script feedback and revisions, and then checking sensitive content. Also, what I've got is a slide with the perfect, if you like, there isn't such thing, but with a good prompt that you can use for any of your script, and I'll show you what each one of these generates when we use the prompt in ChatGPT. Now, you may not need this. I'm giving you, this is extensive. This is if you were doing a 10-minute film, you were doing a short film, you're doing a huge project, you were doing a feature-length film, then you want to refine this. If you're doing shorts that are 2 minutes long, you'll need some refinement, but not as much. So take away from this the bits you need, and with your projects in mind, the bits you don't, ignore them. But I'll give you everything so that at least you have that. Now, the first prompt I want to talk about is the template for plotline development. In the slide here, I've got it broken down, and we saw on site, if I just go back to site, remember when we were talking about what's needed for the points here with ChatGPT, that's ideal. I have them inside this prompt that you can use and you can copy for yours. You can see that point one in the prompt, objective, I give it a very clear objective you can use. Create original and compelling plot lines for my script, focusing on, insert your theme, and describe the genre. Character arcs and unique concept, expand upon character arcs and introduce unique story concepts that align with the script's theme and genre. Ensure these ideas resonate with the target audience, and then provide what your target audience is. Number 3, story elements include gripping elements such as conflict, resolution, and character growth to create well-rounded narrative. Then flexibility and detail, provide enough detail to establish a clear narrative direction, but allow room for adaptation and further development, which we have another point for this. And then commercial and critical appeal, aim to suggest narratives that are not only engaging, but have popular and commercial success and criticism. That could be anything from trending topics to newsworthy, consumer wanted topics, etc. that AI can be judging for. Now, what I have back in ChatGPT, this is an idea that we spoke about a few lectures ago, and it was called the blue line. And it was about the young girl who lives in a futuristic city that's controlled, has an automatic transport system that's controlled. She gets off at a train stop that's decommissioned and finds a rebel group that are living there. So I've asked it to generate, ChatGPT has generated me a 10-minute script. So if you already have your script, then you could paste it in, or right now I've asked it to generate it. So it has my 15-minute script, right here. So now I can ask it with those prompts just based on that. So I can say, if I paste in that prompt I've just shown you, objective. So you can just say, with regards to the script above, to make sure, but you don't need to. 1, objective, create original and compelling plot lines for my script focusing on, and then the theme, let's say the theme is wonder, and describe the genre. It is sci-fi, I want to say. And the character arcs developed, yep. Ensure the ideas resonate with my audience. Let's say these are young Gen Z. The story elements include gripping elements such as conflict, flexibility, commercial appeal. Okay, and let's run that. Now, it doesn't matter on this example what the actual content of my script is, because yours is going to be different from mine. I just want to show you how using this can help. So when you run that prompt, you're going to get compelling plot lines to focus on wonder. And then you could see here it's giving mysterious glitches, introduced the concept of digital shadows. That's a nice thing right here. Time and memory. Ray experiences subtle distortions in time and memory, such as missing moments and gaps in a daily routine. And they're going to disparity between surface level utopia controlled by an underlying reality. Character arcs. Ray's journey. She has internal conflict right here. She grips with fear of deviating from the norm and losing her identity in the world. New goals. Nice. Juno, her mentor figure. This is their arc. Unique concepts. Rebel philosophy. The older rebels believe in a concept of 3 paths. They've named this. Great. Blue Line's connected to a hidden network called Echo. Consists of old forgotten systems, and they name that Echo. Great. So this is really bringing in depth here. We've got names for things like 3 paths. Echo. Introduce small mysterious objects known as glitch artifacts the rebels collect. Great. And then gripping story elements, that's the internal conflict of Ray, the external conflict, the intergenerational conflict between she's young and the people that she met along here. The resolution, the emotional resolution that Ray finds herself. Hope that she gets again to resolve her internal and external conflict, and character growth and flexibility in detail. The script offers a clear narrative direction while having flexibility for further developments. There could be more developments between Ray and the rebels. It has relevant, so the commercial and critical appeal, relevant themes for Gen Z. The narrative explores themes of control, conformity, self-identity, all relevant with that generation. Strong visual elements, cyberpunk aesthetic with glitch effects, futuristic landscape is visually engaging and commercially viable, appealing to fans of sci-fi films like Blade Runner and The Matrix. And here's about its critical appeal. And here's where it's actually put in my redefined script here, the outline. So it's actually put in with the times here where you can start putting in some of these changes. It's even done that for me. This is really good. It's a really great prompt to be using to refine this, just to develop it. Sometimes when we get our first script, it's a little bit surface level. And when you add these small little things, like I ran a script the other month, and I was asking for something about a character, just develop that a bit more and some themes. And it turned out that we needed an object for the character that connoted kind of vulnerability, and he ended up having an asthma pump, and it kind of, there's a metaphor behind this asthma pump, and it's just those kind of depth that you get within your scripting when you reprompt like this. So that was just refining on the plots here, plot line. Let's move on to, I want to talk about character building. If I just paste in that prompt right here that we did right there, I'm just going to say for this script, you could put in your script name if you have multiple, for this script that's above, and it's going to tell me all about developing the character, if you like. So let's see what this prompt results with. Great, that's completed. So this, what it does is list it down here into main characters. This is really great background information you have for your scripts, so you can understand if there's continuity throughout your script. Isn't character acting as they should? and things like that. So we've got our main character, Ray, and they have all about her background, personality, motivation, so character arc, how we spoke about how she starts in one way. She has this kind of equilibrium, disequilibrium, distrust, back to a state of equilibrium. And then we've got all the other characters right here, their age, motivations, characters, personality. So you have a full list here. Then it's going to talk about my character arc. For example, Ray's, we spoke about, her growth involves learning to take responsibility for change and trust in her instincts. She evolves from a passive observer to an active rebel leader, symbolizing hope for the resistance. And it does the same for all characters in here. And in the contribution, we're going to see what each character contributes and why they're here. If a character isn't contributing them very much, then remove them. They're not needed. Don't pad the script out with unnecessary fluff. And then we talk about the depth and consistency. Really good prompt. Really love that one. Just so you have a background knowledge. That might be more for, you definitely do this if you're working in the real world to help your actors, but you are being every single actor in this. So you need to know the background and depth of all of your actors inside these stories because you are creating them. Now, of course, you want to develop your script. That's the next one, the ideal prompt template for script analysis. So you want to make sure you get analysis from your script. This is like meeting, I don't know, a script analyst professional and saying, hey, what's wrong with this and what's right with my script? If I paste that in, let's talk about that. So what this does is basically evaluates the structure. Yes, it's in a 3-act structure. That's clear. That's good. There's engagement and suspense, which is needed to help the retention of a viewer, make sure they stay engaged and watching. They have identity issues. Great. Recommendations for improvement. This is my favorite part. And it says to reorder and tighten the introduction. Give some examples there. Focus on the visual storytelling. Shift rebel dialogue to show interaction. Smooth transitions. It's telling me make sure there are transitions between scenes, what's needed. Feedback and rationale. So with it's talking about the opening again, start with Ray on the train amidst bustling crowd before showing the small significant glitch introduces mystery and sets up her curiosity quickly. Great, it's giving me actual action points that I can be using to make sure when I'm creating these visuals, it does everything. It's these small little details and nuances that a very advanced filmmaker would know and understand. But if you're more of an amateur or early in your career doing this, it's these small things that you miss that really tighten and tell a story. Things like this. We need to show that there's something wrong, she's curious, she's intrigued by the world around her or put out by it somewhat, and there's small little actions she can do that really help cement that as that's that character's character. And then it goes down to enhanced scene breakdown for the blue line. It's got my timings right here and advice that it can have. So this is really good. This is probably the most important, if not my favorite, this and the first prompt that we use for refining our scripts. Please copy and use that for yours. Now, the next one is with dialogue. Now, you might not be using dialogue if you are looking at the AI limitations, but you may be, or you may be doing it as a narrator. I'm just going to paste this in and see what it says. So, objective, write a powerful monologue for, let's do this for Ray. For Ray, who is experiencing insecurity, if we look at developing. And then, yeah, I can just remove this. And let's see when it starts developing this. This is the dialogue sections for this. So here we are, ChatGPT has given me dialogue. So when we have the introduction, which we said needs somewhat of development in the earlier section, it's given me dialogue here. I never thought I was meant for something more. It's always been easier to just follow the lines, and she's under a train on lines. Great. You know, everyone else seems sure about their place. Like they were just born with manuals for their lives. But me, I've always felt like I'm waiting for something to make sense, for a sign that I'm not broken. You could have this all as, rather than her say it, obviously, it can be internal. You could have a voiceover. And while it suggests that scene, for example, while she's on the train and there's glitches that we just spoke about, you could have this. You could have this, couldn't you, as a narrator? Her voice, internal voice, as she's looking out on the train. That's nice. And there's loads more examples you could be using for dialogue throughout this. And it talks about tone and everything else. So if you do have dialogue or you want narration, keep working and working and working that, because the smallest nuances in words that are said or the way words are said can really make a difference with moving your story forward. So the last part, which is much like the one we just did before, I want to get a feedback kind of in step by step for this script and produce detailed, constructive feedback. So if the third one we did wasn't enough, then this script's going to give you, and if you like this structure, I like bullet point style list structures, really help, then you can get feedback from a great script advisor, which is ChatGPT. Doing that. So there's script structure, there's the strengths it's telling you right here with recommendations, dialogue, strengths, recommendations, character development, strengths, and then recommendations. The pacing, once again, I love this, got recommendations first, like create an early incident that hints at Ray's curiosity. Great. Expand the resolution slightly to show Ray is taking her first active steps in leading the movement. Nice. Overall, strengths, recommendations, identified issues and recommendations, smooth transitions, specific feedback and rationale, and conclusion. Just some places to be tightening with the pacing, refining dialogue, deepening the character. Great. This is a really good prompt also. Please copy and paste this on any of your projects, probably this one, no matter how big or how small, because when you're developing a project and you've been doing it for hours, days, weeks even, you become blind sometimes, creative blind to your project, and it's great to have, in this case, an outside voice reading over and giving you recommendations, things you haven't seen. And don't be stubborn and be like, no, my script's fine. Do take on board, not everything that's said, but at least some. And the last point is a big one right now. We obviously have to, you don't need to listen to any of these. This is your project. You are free. You have freedom of speech, obviously. But depending on where you are placing your videos online or festival or wherever, you may want to start looking at, are there any sensitive issues I haven't realized? And some of you creating this in certain cultures around the world will have a different view on how other cultures will take this. And while ChatGPT has a slightly westernized American skew on things, this is really good. I can just say for the script. And it can start telling you, are there any issues I haven't thought about here? Like, do I represent a certain identity of person in a certain way? So we can have a look here, stereotypes and problem. The core themes are set in the blue line around autonomy, control, and rebellion against the authority system. While the narrative focus on these broader themes, the portrayal of characters, social structures, and movements could be carefully examined. Okay. Feedback on the issues, portrayal of rebels. Make sure we don't think that anyone outside of the norm is seen as peculiar, strange. Ray is a young leader, gender and age. We must develop the relationship between Ray and Juno, who's slightly older than her and she's an underage teenager. Make sure it's done thoughtfully to avoid reinforcing gender or generational stereotypes such as older woman, infallible mother figure, or young girl needs saving. Handling of cultural and social economic dynamics. Suggestion for improvement, diversify the rebel group. And some other points right here. You might just read this over. You might not want to make any changes, but just to make sure you've covered all bases. There's nothing you've missed here. You haven't suddenly gone, oh no, I've realized I've made every negative character a certain race, gender, or identity in this, and I didn't even realize it, and it could be perhaps mistaken by some as negative, or I could have done more here to be inclusive, etc. Just make sure, especially if you're going to see in my video that we've been developing for this, I obviously talk about there's partly Japanese culture and there's partly American over wartime. So I'm going to have definitely some sensitivity come back with regards to that I need to make sure I'm aware of. So those were the 6 main points with the different prompts. Please go ahead and use those prompts when you are refining your script. Now we're going to go on and I'm going to show you some other tools outside of ChatGPT. I was going to give you a quick overview of 4 more tools that we can look at, and then you can go ahead and decide whether you want to use ChatGPT like I have or any other of these. Scribbler, we're going to look at Write Sonic, and also there's Text Cortez and Gemini also. So let's go over now and I'll show you some of those tools. The first in the next few lectures, I want to show you some new tools that I've been playing with. I was suggested these by a friend of mine who writes scripts using AI and said there's actually some specific tools, AI tools now meant especially for creating scripts. So first we're going to talk about Scribbler. Now, Scribbler and the coming up tools I'm going to talk to you in the next 2 lectures especially are really fun tools to use, and I'm going to go through this as if you are a new person who's never used Scribbler before. So this is what you'll see. So just 5 minutes or so for the next few lectures, just showing you these tools. Perhaps you want to use them. Perhaps I use them initially and then take what it's developed into ChatGPT. These are ideal for people who haven't written scripts before, who don't know the fundamentals or what they should include. It really aids with that. So let's go over to scribbler.io. Let's just start this for free and take a little look at this tool. And step by step now, it's really helping you. What do I want to create? Okay, let's just go through these. I want to create a script, okay? Now, do you want to upload it yourself, or no, I want to generate this. I want to generate this with AI. Title optional. What's your script going to be about? Now, if you haven't generated ideas, you need to go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to put in somewhat working around the project that I'm going to be doing at the end of this. 2 children during World War II. One is in the USA, Pearl Harbor, and the other is in Japan, Hiroshima bombing. The script is from the perspective of the children and loss of their fathers. Okay, create an outline. So the first thing Scribbler does is give us kind of an outline. Okay, so it's got Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 already, and it's given me here life before the storm and what's happening, the setup, if you like, with the incident that happens, the Pearl Harbor attack, the Hiroshima bombings, and then finding hope, letters of hope, and remembering the past. So from this, if you're happy, you could click collect project from this outline. And if you want to go into the elements right here, it's got the characters here. A young boy living in Pearl Harbor. His father's a naval officer, Tom's mother. And then there's also Eiko, a young girl living in Hiroshima. Her father is a carpenter. And then there's the mother too. The settings, Pearl Harbor and Hiroshima. The object is the attack on Pearl Harbor, the atomic bomb. Objects also the letters, photographs, memories. It divides this into elements. This is really, really good for script writing. If you don't have any experience in script writing whatsoever, this is perfect for you. Okay, let's create the project from this outline. Now, this is where you will obviously, this is not a free tool. There's billing involved right here. I can pay monthly, $29 right now, annual $16 a month. And you do have a free 3-day trial though, which I believe is cancelled anytime. So you could try this, see if you like it. And if it's a tool you're going to use a lot, then it's great because it does a lot of that work for you. But I can also click here. I want to continue with the limited plan. And then you can continue and see it's going to prepare my project for me. And right here in a text document, I have lots about my project. The script opens with the 2 scenes, Pearl Harbor, Hiroshima, Tom Lively, okay, young boy. Here's the scenes, scenes, scene, scene. And it really, oh yeah, it shifts to a few years later. Tom is all grown up. They've both found solace and strength in their memories. So it's really dividing me right here. These are my scenes here. Here's Act 2. If I want to click on that, the scene shifts to this, and Act 3. And it's divided this down, which is really, really good. I can also, this is auto compiled, or I could click guided, which is where I can add prompts if I want to elaborate on any of this if I want to, and which elements should be included, etc. But this is really good as a starting point. I could copy this, I could select it all, copy it, and then if you don't want to pay for anything, of course, I could then go back into ChatGPT. I could say, generate me an actual script or structure like we've been doing using this. And this is a great way that it's developed me a story step by step through Scribbler. So that's a great tool. I just wanted to show you. Let's move on and let me show you the next tool for AI script writing. The next tool to aid with script writing, specifically AI script writing, is WriteSonic. I believe the company is called ChatSonic. They have Social Sonic. Sonic is their theme, but I'm going to show you this one, much like the last tool we looked at in the last lecture, Scribbler. Is specifically to aid with writing, not just script writing, which Scribbler is far more aligned with that. This is for all writing, both general writing, emails, etc., etc. So just like if you are coming on here for the first time, I'm going to show you this. You'll have credits and I'll explain that in a moment. And you can say, okay, what will we create today? Let's go into view all because scripts are not on here. Let's go view all. Now I can scroll through and I can look at all of these if I wanted to, one at a time. There's everything from a follow-up email that you need, subject lines, LinkedIn ads, email replies, blog posts, article writers, humanizer to make it more human, etc. Let's go into Write and let's type in the word script. Now what it's going to come up with, it's not film script, but I really like this one, YouTube video script. It's really, really good. So it's good because we are all very much a social media content creation savvy population now. We've seen a shift that some TV shows and movies that have been created in the past would not be successful now because as an audience, we consume so much social media content that we need an instant hook. We need a reason to watch, keep watching, and constant engagement. We are the generation that has TikTok few-second reels with a very short attention span. So actually creating a script for YouTube with the specifics it has here is really, really good because it's going to generate a great script. Now you can do things like add yourself a brand voice if you were doing this for branding, etc., and language generation, but we don't need that. So video topic. For this case, I'm going to do a documentary style video that you might be doing. Let's call it a tutorial, which works. Tutorial, I'm going to say documentary. Next, who is the intended audience? So I'm going to make a documentary. This is for the general public. Next, what specific subject is the tutorial? It is AI. We did this in the other one. AI, history, and future. Next. What's the style approach? So do you want a step-by-step guide for this or narrative-driven, expert interviews, animated explainer? I would like narrative-driven for this. Generate. So it has a script for me here and it's divided out in a perfect way. I can really relate to understanding this. So you remember before I asked ChatGPT, I was like, make this documentary. It was a similar topic in 5 sections, etc. Well, you don't even need to do that here. It understands for a YouTube video or any video now, we need to have sections for this. So it's got an opening hook. Narrator, imagine a world where machines think, learn, create. A world where artificial minds work alongside human intellect. Since science fiction, this is the world we're living in right now. But how did we get here and where are we headed? Nice. So it's got a hook instantly. Then it's got your introduction section, historical, the birth of AI, AI winter and renaissance, AI today, the future of AI, ethical considerations, and then a conclusion. So this is really good. It's especially good, I think, for my initial generation. I might actually take this, copy it, and then I might go back into ChatGPT and I might say, this is great, but I want a different tone. For example, it's talking about the future of AI, literally what people are doing, but it doesn't have kind of an ominous tone. I might want it to have some drama amongst this, which this tool is great for getting this first point. If you're not a script writer, then get to this first stage with this. And then perhaps I would use another tool like ChatGPT to take this, paste it in, and start adding things like your tone that you want, because you haven't got the freedom. And you've seen this in earlier when I was showing you on site, the different things that are needed to mention with ChatGPT, i.e. the tone, all these points right here. You haven't got the freedom to write that in Write. It's helping you by directing you, by giving answers for this. But it's a great place to get your first draft through. So if you want to, if this appeals to you, go ahead and check out Write, app.writesonic.com, and you can see how you can generate your own ideas. I just think it's especially good if you want to create social media content. You can see actually I've got their scripting here for all kinds of things. If I write script, you can have a TikTok, Instagram reel script. So if you're making social media, and I talk about that in a bit, this is a really good tool for doing that. But it's also good because it's social media savvy, understanding this opening hook and what's needed for a video. So that was Write Sonic. Let's go on to the next and last tool that's really specific just for script writing with AI. Now the last tool I want to show you, just so you're aware of it, is Text Cortez, and then go away after this and decide which ones you like the most. And once again, of course, if you go back to site, you can see how specifically to use each individual one of these. I've divided them down with example prompts and kind of what each one is specialized and used for. Now, whereas the previous two I've showed you are great at asking you questions to direct your responses to generate a script. Real noobs, it's great for that. This one is slightly more like ChatGPT. You can pretty much ask it what you want. If I come in here and say, write me a 15-minute script for this. And this was our project we did a few lectures ago. It was about the blue line. So I can just say, okay, and it's about the girl Ray and the underground. Okay, it's generating this very fast. And the underground kind of society in an AI-driven culture where everyone is given a schedule to travel, and then she finds a rebellious rebel group in an uncommissioned station that she gets off at. So it pretty much does exactly what ChatGPT would do. So it's broken it down. It's got characters on here, Lena, Ray, okay, and then it's got a lot of dialogue in here. So much like you'll see when we're going to generate images, we use multiple different tools. No two generations are the same, no two tools are the same, and you get all different responses on different platforms that you are using. So there will be different things in here. Ray here is 16, she's rebellious. It's got different characters that it's generated, Lena, Jasper, etc. So I had one set of characters on one AI platform, a different one with this. It's great just to have another tool to see the response that you're getting. Now that's not much different to ChatGPT, is it? So why would I show you this? Well, if I come back to the fresh page, if we're just creating a new chat right here, I'm going to show you templates that are great to use here. So if I just click up on the marketplace template, I can go on public to see what's around here. I can either search a specific template, or let's go into here and go media and entertainment. That's the best one. I'm looking for a script, and I am a screenwriter. You could be any of these others here, a screenwriter, and I can see what's happening here. So there's a YouTube video script, engaging YouTube video script, and yeah, let's actually look at one of these. Let's use this. Now it's using the YouTube video script outline. So if I said an information educational documentary about the history of AI and future predictions, just like we did in the last section. Let me just correct some of these typos where I type not looking. Yeah, let's see. Now it's using this template. Let's see what it does. Okay, YouTube video script, rise and future AI. Introduction, voiceover, main body, voiceover, voiceover, voiceover. Okay, and it's got a conclusion here. Suggested clickbait titles. Nice. Unveiling AI, the shocking truth. From science fiction to reality, what's next for artificial intelligence? So it's using templates, and there are lots in here for all different things. Please go ahead and explore. A bit like where I showed you before, we made GPTs in ChatGPT. It's using templates that it's been trained on and know to create your scripts for you. So that's why I wanted to show you this software in particular, but you're going to find now from all the ones we've been looking at, which ones you like the most. Probably ChatGPT, I do, or if you're a complete newbie, then it's Scribbler and Write Sonic. Now in the next one, I'm going to quickly just show you Gemini again, which we used for the idea generation, but I think there's something to be said with script writing, especially for information videos, using Gemini. The last tool I want to show you for script writing in this section, and we've already looked at this in the ideas generation section, but I wanted to show you another free tool here, is Gemini. Now, I'll be honest with you, Gemini by Google is my least favorite AI tool for generating scripts. I know some people do like it because of its structure sometimes, but I would much prefer to use ChatGPT myself, but I will show you this tool for generating scripts. So if I do something, and I've been playing with this here, but I'll generate it again. If I generate a script, for example, let me go back to here, generate me a script about a topic. of AI historical. So a very generalized prompt, not even optimized for Gemini, but you can see if you come onto here, I've broken it down how to optimize this even better. I just want to show you the tool quickly so we can move on, because people ask me about free tools specifically, and Google Gemini has a lot of pros because it's Google and it's linked to YouTube. So if I was making content for online, it has a lot of great research knowledge because it's Google. It's connected to the world's largest search engine, obviously. So here's the evolution of AI. It's broken this down. Now, a lot of people do like this layout that often comes with these bullet points, that it's really good at organizing text and facts, I think. And of course, you can probably trust, no one should ever trust AI's responses 100%, but I think factually, I'd slightly lean towards Gemini because of its Google connections, but you should double check, triple check everything that comes on here. But here, look, I always like that it comes up with the sources. For example, medium.com, and I can go through and I can fact check this and also get inspiration from any imagery that they have on here. Let's check out another one, utech.co. Quite a cool blog post, so I can go through and check my factualness. Okay, and gradefixer.com was the last one. Essays on artificial intelligence. So if I was writing, I would use Gemini, at least initially, if I was writing factual based content. If I was, for example, let me show you a YouTuber that I love. So if I was Johnny Harris, the YouTuber, and he makes a lot of great factual videos, everything from the rise of Hezbollah, and also things like why people think the world is flat, what happens in China invade, and some really deep topics here, North Korea, where you need to be factually more correct. Now, I'm sure he uses AI when he's trying to generate and get research, and he often shows the research papers that he's used for this, but just finding the research papers is a task enough. So if I was generating something like this using Gemini, it's already listing me here. Here's my key factual parts. And then you want to check these and use the research papers. Well, here they are, all listed below. Not that ChatGPT couldn't do this, but Google does it, and it does it really, really well. It may also sometimes generate you images for inspiration with this, but if you are going to do information-based, news-based stuff, then Gemini is great for that and for generating your research for this alongside your script. You can now ask, obviously, based on this research and this, to generate an actual script for speaking if you wanted to. On to the last few lectures now in this section. I just want to go over the structure of script, make sure you are aware of it, and then I'm going to go on and actually create the script for the project that we've been working on throughout this course. Just a very quick video, I mentioned it earlier, but just a minute to show you, to make you aware of these downloads here for the course. So under aivideo.school, AI video scripts, if I scroll down, I want to talk to you about the structure of a script. That's everything from the 3-act structure to how these should actually look. If you actually want to start doing this and get quite professional with it, some of you will not skip this, doesn't matter. Just so you do know, I have these downloads right here. This is the British Broadcast Corporation TV screenplay. If I click download, you can see this is the format of a script. It should be centered like this. This is the Coronian New font, I believe. And then it gives you all details. You put your address and everything in the left and right hand corner. You put the series title in the center. You put the fade in, exterior, location, day one, etc. All formatted like this. Now you could download these and upload them into AI like I've shown you before to start training it. For example, when you made a GPT here, you could make a formatted one for your scripting, and you could say script like this, and you could start training it. So just like that, if I go back over, there is also the screenplay format, fairly similar, some slight differences, dialogue in the center like this. And then also there is the 3-act structure, which is explaining it step by step in a bit more detail about how we create all stories and how all stories, generally speaking, have a beginning, middle, end. Even the most basic of YouTube videos have a beginning. Here's a setup. You'll see this in all big creators. There's a problem to overcome. Let's wait and see if you overcome the problem. So that was just me making you aware of that. Let's go on to the next lecture. I'm going to actually make the script myself for our project in this course. this lecture, I'm going to develop our course project. You've seen me go along now when we generated an idea in the last section for the project. Now I'm going to generate a script, and next we'll start generating a mood board, storyboard, audio, images, video until we're completed, and we submit this to Film Festival, an AI film festival, like we said. And you can see the entire process if you were only to watch the last lectures in each section where I do the course project. You'd see how I go from zero to final project. So if you remember last time in the ideas, I was using Claude AI, one of my favorite softwares for generating scripts and ideas. I'm going to actually copy down. This is the idea we had. It's called When the Sky Changed, and it was about the young girl and young boy in Pearl Harbor and Japan, and how they are both simultaneously going about their day and both lose their fathers, one through Pearl Harbor attacks and one through the Hiroshima bombing. So I'm going to copy that I had right here. Yes, expand on this. I'll be using AI generation for this project. This was AI generated specific shots focusing on elements. So I'm copying that over, and I want to use some of the stuff we've learned here in developing scripts to paste this in. So for this script video idea, and I'm going to paste that in, and that's got all my scenes in here. I'm just going to then go to some of our stuff we learned during this section. First thing I'm going to do is ask it for script analysis on this. So I'm going to say complete script analysis, and then I'm giving it those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. For example, engage in suspense, identify issues, recommendations. We did this over on the 4th lecture in this section. I'm just copying that exact one that I wanted to, the 3rd slide there, trying to get a breakdown of what is good and bad with this script and what it suggests for it. So let's see what ChatGPT is going to tell me in this analysis of this script. Okay, script structure and pacing. The script structure is balanced and effective, alternating between the two perspectives, simply and symbolism. Yeah, that's good. Recommendations for pacing. Open stronger. Instead of starting with close-up shots of the children's hands, consider an initial wide shot of each setting around the grounds, the viewer. That's exactly right, I think. Climax timing. The shift from serenity to intensity in the climax is key. Consider building tension slightly earlier. Very good. Engage and suspense. The juxtaposition of both children's experiences builds up suspense, especially as the climax. But the recommendation is midway contrast. In the middle sequence, add visual cues that reflect each child's anticipation or joy. Yeah, so you're building the audience, loving the child a bit more, feeling more emotionally connected, and then this horrible thing will happen. Intensify climax transitions. All right, identify issues, opportunities for improvement. Emotional clarity, pacing of the small details, recommendations, more visual indicators of the setting to impact. Yeah, these are all good, all great. Okay, I actually like every single one of these. Okay, I'm going to ask it to generate a script based on all these recommendations, including all these recommendations. Okay, I just want to see, did it say anything about the characters here? Overall strength, smooth transitions, issues, engagement, suspense. Okay, what I want to do, I'm going to see what it comes up with that. But do you remember I had that slide about the ideal prompt for character building? Okay, I'm going to just say, let me just wait actually. Let's do this one step at a time. Let me just see what the script has done here, and then I'm going to build on character. So wide shot, opening scenes, 1940s, sunlit room, simple, close-up of hands, young American girl. Yeah, Hiroshima side, wide shot. So now it's adding this stuff in where it wants the wide shot, close-up, boy's father's glasses rest on a windowsill, catching the light. Okay. And then the middle section, medium shot, close-up of face, additional, medium shot, close-up, the climax. All right, it's got everything here and timings for that. Great. What I want to do is paste in this ideal prompt for character building. So in this script, analyze and suggest changes or improvements to the characters. Okay, typing too fast. Okay, and I'm going to paste that in. So if you want to, you can go back to get that in the 3rd or 4th lecture in this section. You can see that exact prompt. So suggestions: Grace Turner, Lillian, Lily, Harris, Evelyn, Evie, Hayes. Detailed backstory: Grace, or Lily, was an American girl, 8 to 10 years old, living near Pearl Harbor. Greater arc: initial stages. Grace starts with a pure, unguarded perspective of the world. The room is warm and peaceful. As it begins to darken, Grace experiences a shift and unease, symbolizing her first realization of potential danger. By the end, Grace holds her father's Navy hat, symbolizing a blend of pride and loss. Okay, narrative contribution and depth. Grace's character is crucial to illustrating the innocence of those who are indirectly impacted by war. That's true. And now let me look at the boy here, Kyoto. Okay, detailed background of them, character, initial stage, much the same. Okay, the hope and resilience endure in even times of danger. His origami crane symbolize peace and optimism. Character arcs and evolution. Summary: suggest improvement. To empathize a shared sense of innocence and resilience, creative visual parallels between the children's actions. For example, Grace drawing her family and Hishima holding cranes can be shot in a way that mirrors each other's movements. Oh, that's quite nice. Or you could have them doing the same thing. They could both be drawing and see one family is the same as the other family. We are just two families on the other side of the world here. Maybe that's something nice. Add layers to the children's emotional shifts. Rather than portraying their shifts, simply wonder, turn to concern. Yeah. Refine visual elements for character context. Add in subtle details to reflect each other's cultural backgrounds. Grace's room could contain small photographs of her father's. Okay, while Hiroshi's might have family heirloom like a calligraphy scroll. Symbolism, final character list. Okay, and then it's broken this down for me. All right, what I like here is it gave me an idea. It sparked something here by having them both drawing their families instead. And what if, and where I'm thinking about that, they're both the same. I want to say, this Japanese person and family are the same. This American person and family are the same. They're both innocent bystanders here that got caught up in war, doing their duty. So regenerate the script story, but this time have the children in the opening scene both drawing their families and see they are the same. Make both of the characters young girls the same age to draw even more similarities. All right, let's see what it does here. I guess this time we have 1940s American young girl. Yep, just as before. Close up of her hands drawing. Yep, and now similar room, a young Japanese girl around a shoji screen, rooftops, the girl's hands holding colored pencils, carefully creating a drawing of her family and herself. I like this better. A pair of glasses belonging to her father rest on the windowsill. The morning lit filter go through. Okay, and then the medium shot. The American girl looks at drawing. Japanese girl looks up from her drawing. Yep, and then the Pearl Harbor side and Hiroshima side. Okay, nice. What I want to, this is a nice touch here. What two names that are the same in Japanese and Western? Okay, Hana, and Hana means flower. Okay, Rina is used in Japanese and Western context. They don't have to be spelt exactly the same. Let me do that again, because I think it's trying to spell it when it converts it over. What are two girls' names that are the same, sound the same, can be spelt different in Japanese and Western? Give me a list of 20. Amy, that's nice. Anna, used in both. Hannah, Sarah, or Sarah. Emmy, Maria. Okay, I quite like this. Amy. Imagine they're both called, it's called Amy and Amy or something. Maybe I can think of, maybe this will help. Generate 10 ideas for this movie title, and perhaps using Amy and Amy. Amy under the changing sky, Amy in the silent horizon, Amy's sky. That's quite nice. Amy in the shadow of the sky, the day Amy saw the sky change. Oh, that's quite nice too. Amy of two horizons, Amy's last morning, Amy in the falling sky, Amy beneath the silent sky, Amy's sky before and after. I quite like some of these, and it's giving me a great insight. So what I want to do now is finalize this, I think, for the latest update, including all changes we spoke about. Generate a script for the short video. Include all scenes, descriptions, any dialogue or narration, which there wasn't any to start with. List it out clearly. And this is going to be my script I'm going to use here. Okay, here's a refined script for the short film Amy Under the Changing Sky. Okay, narrator. Oh, so this is now changed this. Let's see what this one. In the quiet hours of dawn, two young girls on opposite sides of the world begin their day like any other. Okay, Amy, Navy ships in the background. Yep. Close up, hands drawing. A young girl, also named Amy, sits low wooden tables, serene, drawing her family. So updated that. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know: family, peace, and love. So you can now, I could generate this with the narrator's voice and without the narrator's voice. Something in me says it's a little bit corny, but we'll see. Middle sequence, Pearl Harbor transition, medium shot, close up of Amy's face, additional details. Okay, medium shot, medium shot. What I want is regenerate this script, but add one line that each of their fathers say to them. Visually, we don't see their fathers' faces, just lower half of body. Just one line needed to aid the script. Okay, let's see. Oh, forget the typos. ChatGPT doesn't care about. Here's a revised script for Amy Under the Changing Sky. This time, so in the quiet hour, still the same. Wide sky, close hands drawing. Additional detail: Navy hat belongs to a father. Rests on a table, casting a soft shadow over the room. Father's line: camera, lower half of father's body. Amy's father in his Navy uniform stands next to her. His hand gently rests on her shoulder. Father's line: always remember, Amy, I'll be with you no matter where I go. Something like that, but that's a little bit too cheesy, I think. Let's see what the father's line: you're strong, Amy, remember that, no matter what happens. Too cheesy for me, way too corny. I'm going to run the same thing again, but I'm going to tell it to not be so cheesy. This is where it would have been good to have one of those GPTs we were creating in the other one, where we had some quick wit or something. The line should be generic, about the day, a normal line for the character, not profound, but have a hidden meaning. That might be nice. Let's see what it comes up with, because what I want is something that makes you think, oh, that's something said, or gives a clue to what's coming up perhaps, but nothing overly cheesy. Like, yeah, something more like this: make the most of today, Amy, I'll see you late, I'll see you this evening. That's nice. And what does the father say here? Be good today, Amy, I'll be home before you know it. Nice. This is what I'm talking about. Something more like this. Amy glances up, smiles, and nods. Innocence in the form of tiny hands captures what they know: family, peace, and love. This bit. Okay, this is it. This is my script that I'm going to use. Technical details, lighting, transitions, set audio, color palette. Perfect. Okay, so this is what I'm using for my script. I like this a lot. Let me just have this copy, paste, and I just like to store it elsewhere. What I'm going to do as a last stage, this is I'm giving, let's go back into Claude. I'm going to direct Claude, break this down into simple shots, explaining them, and I will be creating this video with tools only, so able to be produced with AI limitations. Okay, and paste that in and go. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let me break this down for you with AI generation tools in mind. Close up AO girl, 40 stars, simple house, Nice. Yeah, great. And it's broken down in a bullet point shots here. This is what I'm taking away with me. So if I just get myself a document, what I like to do just inside a document here, just on Google Doc, is I paste in my script. This is what I had for the script here. And then I'm also going to paste in the thing I just got here from Claude, which was breaking down the shots for me. So I'm actually going to copy that with the information it gives, just so I remember what that section is. And I've got this here to work with. So now when we're working out the next section, which is doing our mood boards and then our storyboards, I've got all the information I need. I know who my characters are, and then when I'm going down here, I've actually got what every single scene is for me. I could go in further and say break down what the girls look like, etc., but I don't need to. Okay, so that was that. I'm going to go ahead and set a task next before we go into the next section, where we're going to actually be generating some images, and we can go ahead and start making a mood board and think, what is this film going to look like? Unsurprisingly, the task for this section, if you're moving on, if you're following along with us in each section of this course, you've generated ideas, you probably had 5 or so of those, maybe you've narrowed it down to 1 now. Generate your script using all the tools that we said. Either use one of the platforms or multiple that we've gone through. Use some of the prompts that I provided you to deep dive that script and characters, and then generate yourself a script. Now use this page by all means, download to make sure you know what it looks like, the 3-act structure, whether you're making a short or slightly longer video, and here's all the information you need for each of the tools. And then you saw me use the tool that we used in the idea section and ChatGPT from this section, and just make myself the script here, have it just store it away wherever you want to store it. I always store it in Google Drive on my documents here. Wherever you want to store it, of course, do that and get yourself a script ready to move on. Because in the next stage, we're going to get creative now. Finally, you're probably like, done enough generating scripts and ideas. Now we can get creative and start generating some images and some mood boards and start designing what these are going to look like, ready to make our images.